what I want to do is transition in a little bit. I don't know if anybody's been listening to those audios that I shared on that builder series. It's called Mojo, the Mojo series of the mindset optimization equals journey optimization is what Mojo stands for. And specifically, I'm actually going through this thing. It's a 7 week thing that I'm in, and they had a really interesting conversation the other day about affirmations, and they asked you, like, do you understand what an affirmation is? And I thought I did. Was an affirmation is something that you intentionally say to yourself over and over again to like create a positive feeling, right? But really what an affirmation is anything that you say to yourself over and over again. And so we're all guilty. I'm certainly guilty of saying things over and over again that are negative, saying things over and over again that we don't want. And I just thought that was just a huge aha for me, because I started to think, it's like, wow, I have a lot of things that I say that are negative about an outcome that hoping to avoid. And I don't say that I'm hoping to avoid it. I think about it's anything that you think about over and over again. Like statistically, we have 6,000 thoughts a day. There's some stuff out there on the internet that you have 60,000 thoughts a day. That's not true, because you're awake for about 60,000 seconds, and you don't have 60,000 individual thoughts you don't have a new thought every second, right? But 6,000 thoughts a day, and averaging 10 seconds of thought, and we repeat like 80 to 90% of our thoughts over and over again. Like there's the same things over and over again, which means if there's something that you're saying to yourself that's negative, you're beating yourself. You're imprinting that negativity on a regular basis consistently. And it's a really kind of a frightening thought process when you think about it from that perspective. And these guys are really big on how powerful affirmations and visualizations really are when it comes to, goal setting. And when you think about, that's kind of frightening to me, because the more I thought about it, I want to open this up for discussion. I think it's kind of frightening to think that I'm saying things to myself over and over again that are negative, that are going to change my mood, are going to change the way that I feel, right? Like, so we don't want that. We think about the outcomes that we don't want on a regular basis. There's some other statistics out there that say something like 70% of the things we worry about never happen, and the other 30% happen, but 2/3 of those things aren't nearly as bad as we worried they would be, and they become almost inconsequential. But same thing, like if we're thinking about something, if we're worried about something, we're actually bringing it into our existence because we're harped on it, we focus on it, we think about it. And these recordings are really powerful. I have not heard anything like these. And I don't think over in my career of, doing this, I've always been really, and I mean, I was listening to Tony Robbins stuff back when nobody knew who Tony Robbins was, the first Unlimited Power series that he did. I had the cassettes, right? The big, cassette thing that I would listen to over and over again. So I've always been involved, but I've never thought about how powerful, and I guess it's all kind of the same things, but I never thought about how powerful affirmations are, and kidding ourselves into thinking it's like, yeah, I should do more affirmations, like you're actually doing them all the time. And if you're thinking over and over again about what you don't want, that's an affirmation, right? Like you're affirming more things that you don't want. And like I said, I'd like to open this up. In about 12 minutes, the gal from Zavvie is going to join us. I just wanted her to go over our statistics with us and share some of the changes that they've made. They've got a couple of different programs that they didn't have when we first started, or one different program that didn't have. But I want to open this up for discussion and just get some feedback from you. When you hear that 6,000 thoughts a day, 80 to 90% of them are the same thoughts, and negativity can easily seep into all of that. What does that mean to you? Like, what does that, can you see how that, like, holy cow, I'm probably doing this a lot more than that's what I said anyway. It's like, I'm probably doing this a lot more than I think I am. And it's difficult because these are unconscious thoughts, right? You're unconsciously thinking about those things, and they're definitely, imprinting habits. And I guess one of the areas that I think is an affirmation that is not serving any of us at Zenith very well, is this affirmation of, I don't like to ask people for referrals. You know, I don't like to ask clients in the middle of a process for a referral. And it's like, we have all our reasons why we don't want to do that. And those are affirmations. The reasons that you give yourself for not doing it is an affirmation that is keeping you from doing it. It's really an interesting, like, oh shit, I never thought about it like that. And so if you can change that affirmation and that visualization to become something different, and that's where having a different goal for, you know, asking for referrals can be really a powerful thought process. But who wants to chime in? I'm going on and on. I'd love to hear your thoughts, because you guys do this stuff and you guys listen to stuff all the time too. Who wants to go? Mike, start with you. You usually have some powerful
I'd
insight.
like to hear what everybody else has to say. I mean, everybody's heard me talk ad nauseum about this, right? And how I believe it's the most significant part of your business. And you're working so hard every month, but you need to start working smarter. And for most originators, if you're really doing this, you should be getting at least 2 introductions for every single person you talk to every month. So, but I'd love to hear what people's thoughts are on this, rather than me just kind of beating the same drum.
Well, it doesn't have to be, guys, we don't have to talk about asking for referrals, just in general, just the idea of this, what an affirmation really is. It's anything that you say to yourself over and over again. Go ahead, Dean, you raised your hand first.
So, so I've been listening to those audios as well. I just put them on when I'm doing stuff that I'm not actually need, that I've got time that I can just listen and go through that. And I think I think through the stuff that we've been doing, part of it starts with an awareness, right? Like the whole fear of, you know, talking to a big producer, right? Like the fear of call reluctance, that type of thing, right? It's, you start becoming aware of the things that you tell yourself, and then it's, what can I do to counteract that, right? So one of the things I started doing is each week I have an affirmation that I do for the week, just to try to pump some good stuff in there based on self-talk that I know that is happening that I'm trying to counteract. So, you know, instead of thinking I'm afraid to pick up the phone and call somebody, it's, you know, when I call, people are excited to hear from me. It's as simple as that. Hey, when I call, people are excited to hear from me. Now, it may or not be the truth, but at least what it does is it's helping me not have as much fear when I pick up the phone, right? Like, they're going to be excited to hear from me, right? And so I think it's just a daily discipline, just like anything else, just like morning routine or anything like that. And when we get away from it, you know, that's when we start going off the rails. So that's my
most of you guys know who Scott Nordby is. I had him, he was in the office yesterday. Scott was my #1 referral partner when I was still producing. Well, not forever, but like the first probably 4 or 5 years of my career. And he introduced me to everybody. That guy's a, you know, world-class, introduce everybody to everybody guy. And we were talking yesterday about the business and his business and my business. He still owns and runs Berkshire Hathaway. He's got about 130 agents and 128 agents. And we got into the subject of mindset, and he said it's the most important thing that they deal with on a regular basis, is helping people understand your mindset is the most powerful tool that you have. And just interesting to hear that from somebody who's obviously operating at a pretty high level. You know, he was a big ninja selling guy, and ninja selling's three areas of focus are mindset, skill set, and daily activity. And they start with mindset. And one of the things that he talked about in mindset is what you focus on expands, where your focus go, energy flows. We're supposed to write down 25 times a day your goal. You hand wrote that out every day. I will, or an affirmation, you wrote it in the present tense. I will make this much money this year, or whatever it was. Just powerful stuff. And I don't think that, I think the biggest aha, and this is what I would hope that you would take away from this, the biggest aha is to start to listen consciously to the thoughts and the things that you're saying to yourself when you're by yourself, right? When you're alone in the car, driving, after a meeting, before a meeting, before a sit, after a sit. I just think that it's way more prevalent than we think it is. And we're just not, I don't think we're, for me, it's been really helpful to just realize the presence of it and to start taking considerations like going, wow, I have a lot of negative shit that I say to myself over and over again, way more than I thought I did. Jack, go ahead.
So I think one of the things that I say a lot to clients when we're getting ready to submit offers and things like that is I always tell them, I'm like, I mean, ask for the concession, ask for 3%, maybe they'll counter us with 2. And I say that from the perspective of the worst thing they're going to do, and the worst thing anybody's ever going to do to you is tell you no. And so I think as soon as you remember that, it's like, okay, well, if I ask, all they're going to do is say no. That's the absolute worst thing that could possibly happen in this particular scenario. And I see it a lot with Marcio, with my husband. He's an immigrant from Brazil, and seeing how he handles situations and his negative self-talk because of the cultural differences there. Around, I think I noticed it the most, the difference in his mindset and mine specifically was when he got laid off from one of his jobs. He took it very personally, but then when he was trying to apply for new jobs, it was very like, just don't cause too much trouble. Don't make a scene. Don't be loud. Don't like put yourself out there. Just like submit your application, submit your resume, and just hope for the best. And I'm like, why aren't you just like showing up at that office and just drop off your resume? And he's like, well, no, why would you do that? And I'm like, why wouldn't you do that? Like, I'm going to be as loud as humanly possible. I want to make sure that they know who I am and that they're aware of me before I show up in the room. Like, I would be as loud as humanly possible to set myself apart from everybody else. And I think that's the thing I'm trying to remember for myself, just getting back into this like new mindset of going after different business and trying different things and things like that is just, again, the worst thing anybody's going to do is tell you no. And if you don't set yourself apart and make yourself memorable, nobody's going to remember you and nobody's going to think of you when they need you for something.
It's good. It's good. The next, after the visualization and affirmation and visualization audios, the next one in there is goal setting. And one of the exercises they do, and this relates specifically to what you just said, Jacqueline, is that when it comes to goal setting, once you wrote down what your goal is, what they encourage you to do, what they tell you to do is like, if this is my goal, ask yourself this question: if this is my goal, why don't I have it now? And that question is a really powerful question, because you have to, if you're answering it honestly, like, okay, if I want to close 15 loans a month, why don't I have that goal now? Why isn't that happening? Because that requires you to look at yourself and go like, oh, I guess I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do or what I have to do to make 15 goals a reality, or 15 loans a month a reality, as an example. And so that's what that affirmation, there's probably a bunch of things that you're saying to yourself, like even if you have that goal, about why you can't do 15 loans a month and why it's not happening right now. Like, how many times do you hear yourself or a realtor talk about how bad the market is? I loved Ryan. I loved your answer yesterday when Scott Norby asked you how your business was going. He's like, I'm killing it. It's going great. I doubled my business last year. I'm ahead of the pace this year. Like, that positivity and that thought process, that thinking is so powerful. And I wonder how many of us would answer that way. It's like going, yeah, I wish it was busier, because I'm guilty of it.
Well, you know, it's funny. Like, anytime I tell people that, whether it be a realtor or somebody else, they kind of look at me like, well,
Right.
yeah, they're like, wait, what? Nobody's saying that right now, right? So I think it's all based upon the way you frame it. And I'm getting my own head sometimes about where I want to be and not feeling I'm achieving enough. But you have to tell yourself that, you know, when you look at the grand scale, you're doing pretty good, right?
Right. Exactly. No, I think that's really powerful. I loved your answer. And I just, like I said, my encouragement to everybody today is to just start to listen. To start to listen to the words that are coming out of your mouth, or the thoughts that are showing up in your head as it relates to what you were thinking, and notice it when you don't feel good. Like when you're like, if you go a whole day, like one of your affirmations every day ought to be like, today I'm going to figure out a way to I'm generating 3 leads today, right? Or I'm generating a lead today. Or I'm going to get a referral from someone today. I'm going to ask people for referral, like every day. Like if you start asking yourself and telling yourself the right things, I don't know where this gal is yet. She's not on. Asking yourself those questions, or telling yourself those things before the day begins, instead of going, man, I hope I get a lead today. If that's what you're thinking, it's like, man, how many apps do I have? I need some more apps. What am I going to do if I don't get any more apps? And so, this is the note thing in there. I'm not going to do that. 2
Well,
people entered the way.
One thing I would maybe throw in here, guys, is, and gals, Jack, but as you're thinking about what are these affirmations, be careful of the backdoor ones. You know, Dean, one of the things you said is like, people are excited to talk to me. It may not be the truth, but they are, right? You know, it's a lot more powerful if you actually believe it, right? It's hard to just say, no, I'm fat, but I tell myself I'm not when I think, but I really am, right? So you have to figure out.
That's what I'm
how do I
talking about.
think-
These are the thoughts, Mike. That's a really
So
good
how do I
example.
change those affirmations? Because otherwise that affirmation can become a backdoor, because every time I tell myself they're excited, but that might not be true. Like, and I have this backdoor negative because we float to the negative. So how do I take those things into a place of, okay, well, you know what? Maybe not everyone is excited to me, but people who are excited about growing their business are going to love talking to me. I bring value to you. So if you are someone who wants to grow your business, I can provide something for you. If you're someone who wants to build generational wealth as a customer, I am the person that can provide that to you. You can see how now I believe that. And you guys know, for me, I believe that when I talk to people, and it makes it way more powerful. So just be careful of those backdoor ones of like, you know, hey, I'm a
Yeah, if
healthy
you've got the
person,
cynicism,
but I'm
yeah,
really
that's
not.
a really good point. If you're cynical about helping people build generational wealth, if in the back of your mind what you say to yourself after that is like, yeah, I don't think people really fucking care about that. I just want a fucking another deal. If that's the kind of shit you say to yourself, then you're not helping. You're making it worse. You're making it way worse. If you're cynical about that, you have to buy into it. I'm going to let this gal in. Her name is Sierra Self. Hi, Sierra. We've been waiting for you.
Hey, good morning. How's it going?
Good. How are you? Thanks for joining, everyone. This is Sierra. Sierra, I reached out to Sierra because, well, I saw a notice on. I was going through American Express, and I was like, "Oh, we pay these guys $500 a month to have access to this." All right, Mike. See ya. And so, what are we doing with what's going on with Zavvie? What's going on with Xena Smart Catch? And so I just thought I reached out to her, and she actually shared some stats that I'm hoping you're going to share today. And you want to share your screen and show us some stuff, or I'm not sure what your presentation is going to be, but I'll let you go ahead.
Awesome. Yeah, so it's actually really good timing. We are launching a few new products. So I'm going to share that with you guys today and give you a refresh of what we already had available. We're in really early stages of launching these new products, so they're not reflected on our website or in the calculator tool just yet. Hopefully they will be within the next week or so, but we can start using everything as of today. So really exciting stuff. Let me share
Excellent.
the screen. Awesome. So we will start with a refresh of the 4 options that we have had. Starting on the left side, we've got our Cash by Flex product. Flex is now just 0.5% starting this new year. I know this is something that Dave wasn't aware of, changes wise to the product. So this is a really great option for folks who need to make a stronger non-contingent offer. It's a cash backed offer, meaning we supply an addendum to the contract and proof of funds showing that we're a party to the transaction. And if they need us to step in for any reason, maybe their home didn't sell on time to qualify for your loan, maybe, you know, they're something fell through on their side. Either way, if they can't get their loan closed up in time to close on the home, we'll step in and buy it in cash for them. So that's what the Flex program is all about. The cost is just 0.5% of the new home purchase price, as long as they don't need us to step in, if we're just going to stay in the backup position. Okay. Then if we do end up stepping in, it transfers into this reserve option. So reserve, we are then buying the new home in cash and holding on to it for them while they sell their departing residence or get their loose ends tied up to get their loan closed. And at that point, they would then purchase the new home back from us at the same price plus interest. The cost of this program is 1% if they don't have a home they have to sell in order to qualify to buy back from us, or 1.9% if they do have a home they have to sell in order to purchase back. The interest is not a flat rate. It varies depending on the state and the purchase price. It's the true cost of their capital, since we're buying the home in cash instead of offering a short-term loan. Then with the signature product, this product is getting a facelift. We just got a new funding line for this option, which is one of the new products that we're launching right now. So I'll explain what that looks like. But the current product that you guys are probably the most familiar with is a short-term loan, 11-month note with interest-only monthly payments, and the cost is 1.9% for the program. And lastly, Rescue. Rescue works just like Reserve, the cash buy option. The only difference is the clients who need Rescue are already under contract on their new home when they come to us. So we would do an assignment of the purchase contract into our own name, close on the home in cash, and then they would buy it back from us once they're able to do so.
Okay.
Any questions before I move on into the new stuff?
I don't have any, guys. Nope. Okay.
I always forget. Why would you do the reserve over the signature?
Yeah, it depends. So some Reserve is available in select states only. It is a loan product versus a cash buy. So that's one reason. It is available in Colorado. Both options are. So for you guys, you kind of have the pick. Between the two, I would say usually with Reserve, it's best for clients who either need to leverage the competitiveness of a full cash offer with a quick closing versus Signature, which we do need 21 days to close. It follows the TRID guidelines, and you know, it's still a non-contingent offer, but it's not a cash offer. So kind of difference between the two. Also with Reserve, we defer the interest for 90 days. With Signature, interest only monthly payments are due the following month.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, good question. All right, so the new products, we've got 3 things coming. One is the upgrade to our Signature program that I touched on. Another is an instant equity option, which is super exciting. So we will be able to provide clients with an option to borrow cash from their departing residents. And lastly, a guaranteed backup contract on the departing residents. So I'll go through some details here. So the backup contract, essentially, we would be supplying a contract on the departure that says if in 180 days the home does not sell on the open market, we will buy it from them. We make an offer based on AVMs that we pull. Typically, I think what I've seen so far the last day or two, the offers are between 75 to 78% of fair market. So it's not a super exciting offer to receive as a borrower, but it's a great safety net, especially if they do have a lot of equity. It could still allow them to qualify for your loan based on these hypothetical worst case net proceeds. So this is a great option to remove the home sale contingency from their offer if otherwise, you know, they can afford to proceed. It also solves the DTI issue for clients that maybe have the assets to cover their down payment, but they can't carry both mortgages. So this is a really great option that allows them to still sell in the open market for their top sales price within that 6-month window. It's a really simple process. They can get the contract from us in the same day. We just need the departing resident's information. And it's a flat fee. So it starts at $2,500 and goes up based on the price of the home. I believe if you get in over $1 million, then it goes to $3,500. But it's just a tiered flat fee. And then one of the great perks here is if for some reason home doesn't sell in 180 days and we have to actually buy it, which we're hoping doesn't happen, we turn around and put it right back up on the market for sale because we're not trying to own any homes. Once the home sells, if there's any profit from that home sale, we give it right back to your borrowers. We'll net, of course, any hard costs that we had to put forward to list it or pay for the agent, things like that. But anything over the top, we give it right back to them.
Right. That's good. That's a good product.
Yeah.
So so this would be for a client that needs to sell a property to qualify? And
Yep.
you guys would buy it from them?
If it doesn't sell in 180 days, we would buy it. The hope is that we never have to get to that point to buy it. But it provides essentially, it meets the guidelines to allow you to eliminate this departing residence from qualifying them for their new loan. So again, if assets aren't an issue, they have, the money to put down on their new home, but maybe DTI wise, you can't get them qualified. This is a great option to just say, hey, here's a flat fee, get a contract on this property, and they'll put it up on the market, just, business as usual, and get it sold under that 180 days.
And
hopefully.
what's the deal?
Yeah, how
Jack,
does
you've
that-
talked about this. This is Fannie and Freddie. You can't do this with a government loan, but I think Fannie and Freddie allows you, if you've got a backup contract on a home, you can remove the monthly payment from the qualifying on the new loan.
As long as you're through all contingencies, I'm pretty sure. Is that right, Jack?
Yeah,
So
Yeah, so no contingencies on the exit property.
then Sierra, you all would provide a contract that basically says cash.
Mhm.
And then do we need like a letter to provide to our underwriter or something?
Oh,
Yeah,
you got
we
the contract.
the contract to provide.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know if there's like, yeah, we're through all contingencies. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah, but cash contract would have no contingencies, right? It'd be waiving appraisal.
Well, I mean, still do inspection, right? Right?
Yeah, the contract will outline all of that stuff. I do have an example that I can share with you guys after this. I have an example of the contract.
I have a quick question just on the value again. So you're taking AVM value and you said what percentage they're getting on that?
What I've seen
Roughly?
is typically between 75 to 78% of the fair market value that we're pulling from AVM.
Okay. Just devil's advocate, how does that compare to say someone brings in an open door offer, something like that? I don't know where those values fall. I know that they obviously get far less than what the list price would be, but do you know how that compares?
I don't, not off the top of my head, no.
Okay.
All right, the next option that we are unlocking is instant equity. So they can borrow up to 90% of the departure. The amount that we can lend is based on that backup contract value amount. So basically the offer that we would make on the departing residence in case it doesn't sell in 180 days, we can lend 90% of that number. So with the instant equity program, they would also need that backup contract. That's kind of the way that we are collateralizing this equity loan, if that makes sense. We're not taking out a lien against the departing residence. We're guaranteeing that, they're going to be able to pay this off with X amount of net proceeds, worst case, in 180 days if their home doesn't sell. So with the instant equity option, they can use the cash towards their down payment or closing costs on the new home that you guys are purchasing with them. The origination fee is 2.5% due at closing. All of the interest is deferred until loan payoff, so there's no monthly payments on this option. Rate is 9.99%, and the note is 12 months.
And so what's the value that you're going to use on the 90% again?
It's that guaranteed backup contract, the value that we use there. So it's the fair market value that we're pulling from our AVMs.
So you go up to 78% of the fair market value, and we can borrow up to 90% of that 78%.
Correct.
So
You
like
got
on $1 million home, 78% of the value would be 780. And then 90% of that means you guys would go up to a total LTV or, total loan amount, first and second up to 702.
Yep.
Mm.
You got
Okay.
awesome. And then
Kind of a bridge. It's basically like a bridge loan, right?
Yep. Exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
Bridge
Okay.
loan without any actual liens happening.
Okay.
So it's a lot quicker
With no payments.
with no payments.
Yeah. Okay.
And then lastly, the signature product, the new funding line for signature. So the other option is still available as well. We'll kind of be able to look at both options when you guys have a client that needs, the signature bridge loan for the purchase, and see which one works best. I'm assuming this one will probably be a pretty good contender since there are no monthly payments. So this one, 95% loan to value. So clients would bring down 5% on the new home purchase. It can be combined with instant equity. So if they need to pull from their equity to cover that 5%, they can do so. You can use both products at once. The origination is 1.7% due at closing based on the loan amount. And all of the interest is deferred until loan payoff here as well with no monthly payments. 9.99 rate, 12-month note, and here are all of the states that it's available in. This is probably the most exciting piece for us, is unlocking it in so many more states than we previously had.
So 95% of the new purchase price, they have to bring 5%. You can use the instant equity. 1% origination fee, all interest deferred until loans paid off, no monthly payments, 10% rate, 99910, and a 12-month note. Right on.
Awesome. Any questions on the new products?
So this signature one, they're bringing 5%. They still have their exit residence.
Yep.
Right? They bring 5% to put down on this, and until they sell that home, they're just accruing the interest whenever we put the loan on this when that's paid off.
Exactly. Yep.
Minus, okay.
Yep. As soon as they sell their home, you guys would do a rate and term refi into
Yeah, I
the
was going to say, you're recording this, right? This is going to be recorded against the property?
you mean the as far
The
as
note.
lien on the property? Yes.
Okay.
Yep. But again, we're not doing a lien on the departing. We're using that backup contract to essentially collateralize. So it'll be
Right.
along with the backup contract with the worst case net proceeds.
Got it.
Interesting.
Awesome. So yeah, we're super excited for these new options. It's really going to just open up a ton more scenarios that we can help with. We've already seen a ton of action so far. I started yesterday evening shooting over some applications for these products, and it's solving a lot of problems that, you know, previous products were pretty good at, but having no monthly payments is definitely a competitive edge against the other ones. So it's going to be awesome. We will have marketing materials and an official launch very soon, probably by next week, I'm assuming. You'll also see in our portal, you guys all are registered for the portal, I believe. Dave, we checked that together.
Yeah.
The portal is going to become even more of an integral cog in using our Zavvie products going forward. It's going to basically have everything you need in one place. So this will be where marketing materials are housed. This will be where you schedule a call with me. All of the updates to the programs, everything's going to be in here. And the calculator tool is going to get a lot more robust, where you're going to enter scenario, details, price, and it's going to tell you exactly which of the signature funding lines or which of the products, the new things that we just went over, are going to be a great fit. So it's really going to be able to use AI and all the tech that we're harnessing to deduce exactly what would be the best path forward.
And when is this going to be ready?
Hopefully by end of next week. Fingers crossed.
So do we need to schedule an updated training on that?
Nope, it's going to be still super simple like it is now. It'll ask you for the state, the purchase price, and then it'll give you some drop-down options for scenario details. And then from the cash portal, like I said, you can book a call with me. So if you have any questions or you need to send me a message, you can do that all through the portal now. Really exciting.
Okay. Right on.
We'll also have all of those updates on your phone. We launched an app earlier this year. Not sure if you guys knew about that, but if you go on the App Store on your iPhone, type in Zavvie, Zavvie, you can download the cash portal and all of its tools to your phone. So it makes it really easy. Just a refresher on the loan programs that we can use. This is only reflective of the 4 products that we have currently, not the new stuff. The new products are going to fall under kind of the signature category, since they're going to be loans in the borrower's name, which makes a difference on which loan product we can use. So across the board, we can use conventional loans. FHA, we still can't use for flex, reserve, or rescue, since there would be 2 purchases on the property within a 90-day window. That 90-day flip prevents us from using that. VA loans, we can use across the board for all of our products, including the new ones. DPA, not a great fit because we usually require some liquidity up front. And then jumbo loans and non-QM we can work with both our current and new products.
Remind me, why can we do signature on 97 LTV? Why is that possible?
Yeah, so we're basically providing our pre-approval based on your pre-approval. So if you have clients that are pre-approved for a 97 LTV for signature product, that's what they're going to be using to refinance. then that's something that we can.
I see. So if you think we can do a 97 LTV refinance, you're just putting that back on us, basically, is what you're saying.
Yep.
That makes sense. Okay. Because I was like, well, you can't really do one for the most part. I mean, some clients you can, but not many.
Yeah.
I thought you could only do a 97 LTV refi on a home ready loan. Am I missing?
Exactly. Right. That's
Yep.
what I'm saying. Yeah.
So if you don't buy it with home ready, I don't think. Oh,
You can refi in the home ready.
oh, with home ready, but it couldn't be. Yeah, I got you. But if it's a first time home buyer making over the you couldn't-
112,
Yeah.
80.
Okay, yeah.
Then just a quick review on
Right.
what we require for the programs. So we're looking for a 660 credit score. The new products, the instant equity and the new signature will require 640. So I'll get this matrix updated. And this will live in the portal for you guys as well if you ever need to come back and look at this again. So the new programs will have a 640 minimum, current program 660. We are then looking for pre-approval for a takeout loan with you guys as usual. So if it's less than 5% down, like we just discussed, we'll just rely on your pre-approval. We're also going to look for the assets required to use the programs. So whether it's the 5% down for the new signature product or the 2.5% deposit for reserve, we want to make sure that they have those liquid assets. So whatever's listed on a 1003 or an AUS, that's what we will go off of in this case. And still, as ever, you will get them pre-funded quickly through the cash portal. So you'll upload the AUS, 1003, and property addresses via the portal. Our committee typically can review and give a pre-approval determination in just a few hours. And then the clients can start shopping. All right. And that's all I've got. Any questions for me on new stuff, old stuff?
You mentioned that you've had some lenders, when you and I were talking, you have some loan officers out there that put every client that they come across in the system
Yes.
to confirm that there's a backup ready to go in case they need it. Is that right?
Yes, that's
That's
correct.
really interesting.
Yeah, so they use it kind of as a mortgage integration feature. And I will say they do probably 3 times more deals with us than most, because they're kind of putting it in our hands to review and say, are they eligible for any of your programs and what options do they have, instead of trying to initially deduce, which options would be a good fit and kind of taking that time. So instead, utilize the portal, utilize our tech, and utilize our team, and just throw us whatever you have. We can always do a quick review and tell you if there's anything that sticks, especially now with the new programs. We're probably 90% of the time going to have a solution for you.
I just think it'd be a nice value add for every one of your clients and all of your real estate agents to go, by the way, I've got a backup in place for this. I've got a backup in place for that. So if they end up not being able to do this, we've got another solution just in case. You don't have to use it, but I already got it approved. That kind of thing would go a long way towards like, wow, you did that? Like, yeah, I just wanted to make sure you guys I just want to try to cover all your bases. Give you as much flexibility, as much firepower as you could possibly need. Going above and beyond, I think it's actually it's not a bad idea. And if you're not if all you're having to do is submit all the same things that you're already getting, could be really powerful.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, we're trying to make it as easy as possible on the front end for you guys. Just upload a few documents that you already have, property addresses, and some scenario details, and we'll take care of the rest.
Right on. Well, Sierra, thanks a lot for coming on. Anybody have any more questions?
No,
Thanks a lot for
thanks.
joining us. We'll have you back soon, and maybe once we get everybody in the system, maybe we'll bring you back here in a couple 3 months and just get an update as to how everything's going and some other insights that you might be able to share with us. Okay.
Awesome. Sounds great.
Thanks.
All
Sarah.
right.
Thanks,
Thanks for
Sarah.
joining.
Thank you.
What do you guys think? Like, I have my thoughts. I want to know your thoughts.
We can just do it ourselves at some point in the
Kind of
future.
have to be pretty desperate, I think.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, I hate oh man, giving I mean, we don't have the products, but
No.
I would
No,
like to take the 2%.
I
split
mean,
it.
the biggest the couple biggest pieces of feedback that I get is they make you aggressively price drop, with some of their programs. And I know clients that have been on the market 60, 90 days and they've only price dropped once, and then they got under contract around list with some concessions. Right. So that's the biggest hurdle is the exit home. I just showed you you know, they're going to give you 78% of what the AVM is. So you have to tell a client, hey, if you can't sell your house in 180 days, if you're using this program, we actually need to sell your $1 million house for 780. How does that sound? They're like, fuck you. It's absolutely not, right? Like, so I want to hear your guys' thoughts on maybe some the situations that would work, because I don't think there's many in this particular market that are really like, if we're really looking out for our clients, are really truly advantageous, you know?
I think they'd have to be really desperate, right? Because that cost is astronomical.
I mean, yeah, you're shelling out. You're like, yeah, I want to go buy a new house, but I'll forfeit $200,000 potentially. I don't know. That's just,
do like the guaranteed backup. I just sent you all the guidelines there just to double check.
yeah. The hardest part that I've also had too is like deciphering the different programs, how exactly they work, because it's so complicated. And then trying to tell the client that, the client's like, what'd you just say? They're all so different. There's just so much that goes into it. And one thing if we were to give Zavvie some feedback too, I feel like whenever I get the pre-approve a client, I've got like 3 different people hitting me up, and like I'm like talking to Sierra and another person, and I'm like, who am I talking to? You guys are all over the place. They're not on the same page. So
They have been, I have used them a couple times, I think, but they are good on the weekends.
yeah, relatively.
It's helpful.
Well, we've got
but
another.
I think it's only for, I mean, it's good to have like as a, like, hey, I have this other stuff. If you guys find a home that's perfect and you, before your other home's under contract, you know, whatever. I like that guaranteed backup contract, right? Because it's cheap. It's like what, $2,500, maybe 35. But that's
Yeah, but like, how do you sell that to the client though, right? Like, it's a good idea in theory, but it's a guarantee.
Sell your house within 6 months.
Yeah, you like that's not my problem.
That's the sell.
Realtor.
Yeah. Okay. So do what you need to do to sell in 6 months. Yeah. If you're desperate, right? Like,
But
that's
yeah,
the thing.
it's for clients that have, you know, I would say like obviously 5% down minimum, if depending on the price point, but they don't qualify without selling. Like, all right, well, we have this product. That way you guys can buy that perfect home first, but your risk is you're gonna have to pay 2 mortgages. So
Yeah.
It's a conversation with their agent to say like, hey, how confident are you that you can sell this at a value that they're comfortable with within 6 months? And if they say, yeah, we can absolutely do that.
I don't think anybody's confident in this market right now.
But it's going to depend on the agent, right? They have to be real with their client. They can't just bullshit them.
Yeah, for sure.
We've got another company that we're getting hooked up with. It's called Calque, CALQUE. Jacqueline found it. They do the same backup offer deal. I think it's less expensive than what Zavvie's doing. It could be the same. I wonder if it's the same price.
Side note, are you guys talking about this? This was news to me. You can exclude a mortgage payment on a house they haven't sold already if you're through all the contingencies.
Yeah.
Dude, what rock have I been living under? How long has this been?
Forever.
dude, go find that MRI book, bro.
To kiss my ass. I know every other guideline.
I feel like I tried it once and maybe it was with Pauline VIP and I think it got torn apart, but I sent the guideline. If it's a cash offer, yes, it's way easier. But if there's a loan, you do need, at least with Freddie, you do need something from the lender, the other lender saying we're through contingencies. So
yeah, they basically have to
want to sell that house. They're gonna want to use the net proceeds, right? Not many people, like, there's not many circumstances where.
Jack, do you remember how much Calque was going to charge for that?
Let me grab that really quick. Hang on.
It's something that's good to have, but every time I do bring it up with clients, they're like, oh man, like 2%, like that's a lot of money. And I'm like, yeah, that is a fucking lot. I mean, $800,000 home at 16 grand. Like, you know, and most of them are like, they think about it and they're like, yeah, we'd rather just wait. Like,
what's your cost of moving twice?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, that's the one thing. Is like, well, what do you tell them? I guess.
How much will it cost for you to store your stuff and move in between selling and buying the new place?
Right.
Fair.
Yeah, it's. I think it's all in how you approach it. It's all in how you approach it. I think, yeah, it's expensive, but it's like, hey, you get the house. You get the house that you want, right? And like I said, if you're not confident that you're going to sell your house, I don't think we're in a market where you're going to have to sell your house for 22% less than you listed, although I could see where, you know, the AVM is going to be pretty accurate, right? So it just depends. I think a lot of it depends on fairly accurate. I guess it's not spot on, but the question is, where does the buyer think, or the seller really think his house is worth? That could be the bigger issue that you have, is that my house is worth more than that AVM. And now you're telling them
Most
78% of a number that's lower than what they think it is.
Right.
And how
most
much
sellers
equity
are
can one really pull out of 72% of their home?
Just
seven-
depends.
90%
their
of
loan
the
amount, like-
72%, right?
So the calc program, it's a flat fee of 2,000 and then 1% of the purchase price guarantee. They do the same calculation of the way Zavvie was talking, where they take their ABM 75%, whatever it is. And then the key to that piece is we're just putting a contract on here in the short term. Like, we're just saying we're gonna buy the house, and then it just doesn't have to close before you purchase your new house. If they need the equity from the sale, Calc doesn't have that particular program in place, but they do have a couple of lenders that will let you do a HELOC on the exit home, and then you can do a HELOC for whatever the ABM is. And so up to whatever the guarantee is. And so then you're offsetting that, or you're excluding that payment based on this contract that they've written on the property. So I think the big piece in there from an explanation standpoint to the client is, you're not actually selling your house for this amount. We're just saying that they're gonna buy it for this amount, so that way we don't have any contingencies on here. And then if they do the scenario where if you don't actually need to the equity to buy, and they have their own money, it's just 1% of the current loan amount that's on the exit property. So if you've got a house that you're gonna sell for 700 grand, but you only owe 200 grand on it, your cost is 1% of the 200. And then you do your down payment however you want to.
Dave, are we gonna get like audited and in trouble when we have a cash offer, but and then like 2 months later the home's still on the market? Doesn't that look a little weird to an investor? Just saying. Kind of like a straw buyer, isn't that like illegal?
No, because there will be a date on the contract of 6 months out, right? So that date.
As an investor, you're through all contingencies, but you want to close in fucking 180 days. It's kind of odd, don't you think?
I mean, it meets the guideline.
Yep.
Okay.
It's the guideline, dude. I mean, that's, I don't know. I don't think you have anything to worry about. And they're buying the house at the end of 180 days. So
I think that's probably the only scary part to the client is like, you have to go under contract at this number, and God forbid you don't sell your house in 6 months. You are locked in to selling your house at an astronomically low number, right?
I wouldn't say it's astronomically low though.
780 on $1 million house? That's
Well,
an
it's a
ABM?
percentage.
It's
I mean, it also, I think it
78%
comes
of $1
down right
million.
into, do you want to sell your house and do you want to buy this new one or not?
Well, yeah,
That's
I
the
get
reality.
that,
I
but
mean,
like,
I think we're playing-
realistically speaking, would you sell your house for 780 if it was worth, you thought $1 million, if you couldn't
Depends
sell
on
it?
how bad I want the
yeah,
next
but
house.
I think Ryan, the point is, like, it's not worth $1 million or you would have fucking sold it in 6 months.
Well, the ABM that they're going to be pulling says it, right? So I'm telling you worst case scenario based upon what I know we're going to hear back from real estate agents. I would love to get some feedback from real estate agents for sure, but I think this is just the biggest hurdle in this market is nobody knows how long and how much your house is going to sell for. And so when you try to sell this to a client, they better be damn sure that they know their house is going to sell for a decent amount in a relatively short amount of time.
Then that's an upfront conversation, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, this is your absolute worst case. If you really want this house, you need to have a conversation with your agent. What is the strategy that you're going to employ to make sure that you price your home, that you are making sure that this closes and is under contract before 180 days is up? I don't think that's an unrealistic conversation.
What if there's a clause where they can say, with Zavvie, where they could decide to rent it instead, but that would still solve you know what I mean? What if after
Yeah,
6
because that's
months,
what's
like,
I mean,
happening
if
can I
a
rent
lot.
my house
if the buyer
instead?
decided, if the new buyer decided to not sell it, you mean?
Yeah, after 5 months, like, can I just rent it? And like, I guess that would still fit the guidelines. I mean, DTI wise. But yeah, I'm with Ryan. Like, yeah, no, I would not sell the AVM is lower than, I would not do that. I mean, that's $200,000 less. I mean, I'm not seeing that.
Less what you think, yeah, but that's, again, that's the AVM price. So.
Right.
AVM, I mean,
And if it
The AVM is
hasn't sold,
relatively-
if it
AVM is
hasn't sold,
relatively
it's not worth
conservative, right?
what you think it's worth, and maybe you shouldn't be moving. So I
well,
don't
it's
know.
also
Yeah.
probably not worth 20% less than the AVM.
Well, the thing is, the thing
Somewhere in
that's
the middle.
happening in this, the thing that's happening in this market right now is like, yeah, people want to get a certain particular price, and your house may truly be worth that. But if you're not, if you're kind of in a weird part of town out east or whatever, right? Like you just may not sell your house. And so there are a ton of people that are like, F it, I'll rent it for a year, right? And that's just the best financial decision for somebody. Whereas you're handcuffing them, not weird, they're deciding to do, to put themselves in a worse financial position if they do that without renting it, right? So,